The Stellar Convergence space station orbited a dying red giant, serving as a neutral ground for over 300 species across the galaxy. Here, in the farthest reaches of charted space, Nancy Rodriguez mopped floors in Section 7B, the diplomatic quarter where dragons conducted their ancient business. Nobody paid attention to janitors. That was the universal truth Nancy had learned in her 5 years aboard the station. Ambassadors, warriors, and merchants walked past her as if she were invisible. Just another human doing the menial work that kept civilization running. It was during her late-night shift, past Aero 300 station time, when Nancy heard the desperate splashing. The sound came from the ceremonial water gardens, a sprawling complex of pools and fountains that the Draconic Imperium maintained for their religious observances. Nancy wasn't supposed to be there. The area was restricted during hatching season, but a maintenance alert had directed her to fix a leaking pipe. The splashing grew frantic. Nancy dropped her mop and ran toward the sound. In the largest pool, barely visible beneath the bioluminescent lilies, a small dragon hatchling thrashed wildly. Its wings, still wet and undeveloped, couldn't generate lift. The ceremonial pool was deep, designed for adult dragons, and the hatchling was drowning. Without thinking, Nancy dove in. The water was ice cold, kept at temperatures optimal for dragon physiology. Nancy's lungs seized, but she pushed forward, grabbing the panicking hatchling. Its claws raked her arms, drawing blood, but she held tight. The creature was heavier than it looked, dense with the metallic bones that would one day allow it to breathe fire and survive the vacuum of space. Nancy kicked hard, breaking the surface. She hauled the hatchling onto the marble edge, where it coughed and sputtered, expelling water from its lungs. Its scales were iridescent purple, marking it as royalty. "Shh, you're okay now," Nancy whispered, checking the creature for injuries. The hatchling's eyes, ancient and knowing despite its youth, fixed on her face. It made a soft chirping sound, then curled into her lap, exhausted. That's when the lights blazed on. Step away from the royal hatchling. A dozen draconic guards materialized, their plasma rifles trained on Nancy. Behind them strode Ambassador Korthax, a massive silver dragon whose mere presence made the air shimmer with heat. Nancy raised her bloodied hands slowly. It was drowning. Silence, human!" Korthax's voice boomed. "You have violated sacred grounds. You have touched a royal offspring without permission. You have—" The hatchling chirped loudly, stumbling toward Nancy on unsteady legs. Korthax fell silent. The guards lowered their weapons, confusion rippling through their ranks. "Impossible," Korthax breathed. "Prince Azeroth has chosen—" Nancy didn't understand what was happening, but she knew trouble when she saw it. "Look, I'm sorry, I'll go." "Just let me—" "You will do no such thing," Korthax said, though his tone had shifted from anger to something like awe. "A dragon prince has marked you as nestmate. You are bound by ancient law. That was 2 months ago." Now Nancy stood in her cramped quarters, staring at the official summons on her datapad. The message was brief. "Report to the Imperial Chamber immediately. Bring nothing. Tell no one." Her roommate, Jacob Chen, looked up from his engineering manual. Jacob worked in environmental systems, and they'd been friends since orientation. "You okay?" Jacob asked. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "The dragons want to see me," Nancy said quietly. "Jacob, if I don't come back, don't talk like that." Jacob stood, his usual easy smile replaced by concern. "You saved that hatchling's life. They can't punish you for that. This is the Draconic Imperium we're talking about. Their laws are older than human civilization." Jacob grabbed his jacket. "Then I'm coming with you. You can't watch me." The Imperial Chamber was a vast space at the station's core where artificial gravity gave way to the dragon's preferred zero-G environment. Nancy and Jacob were escorted by silent guards, their boots mag-locked to the walkway. At the chamber's center, dozens of dragons floated in a perfect circle. Their scales ranged from crimson to gold to deepest black. At the circle's heart floated Prince Azeroth, now twice the size he'd been 2 months ago, and Ambassador Korthax. "Nancy Rodriguez." Korthax's voice filled the chamber. "You stand before the Council of Flames. We have deliberated since the night you violated our sacred grounds." Nancy's heart hammered. Beside her, Jacob tensed. "The laws are ancient," Korthax continued. "The penalty for touching a royal offspring is death." Gasps echoed from the observation gallery above. Nancy heard Jacob curse under his breath. However, Korthak said, and the single word carried weight. There exists an older law. When a dragon prince chooses a nestmate from another species, that bond supersedes all others. Prince Azeroth has spoken. He claims you not as violator but as savior. As family. The dragons began to hum, a deep resonance that vibrated through Nancy's bones. Prince Azeroth floated forward, now large enough to carry a person. His purple scales gleamed. He touched his snout to Nancy's forehead, and suddenly her mind flooded with images. Herself diving into the water, herself holding him as he coughed and breathed, herself as a giant of kindness in a moment of terror. The Council recognizes this bond, Korthax declared. Nancy Rodriguez, you are hereby granted the title of Nest Guardian, the first human in 7,000 years to receive such honor. You are granted full diplomatic immunity, access to imperial resources, and the protection of the Draconic Imperium. What? Nancy stammered. Furthermore, Korthax continued, a hint of amusement in his ancient voice, you are relieved of janitorial duties. The Imperium does not permit royalty to mop floors. Laughter rippled through the Dragon Council, a sound like distant thunder. Jacob grabbed Nancy's shoulder, grinning like a madman. You did it. You crazy brave, you actually did it. As the ceremony continued, Nancy looked at Prince Azeroth, who chirped happily and performed a loop in 0G. She thought about that night, about the split-second decision to dive into freezing water for a creature she'd never seen before. Humans, she realized, didn't hesitate when someone needed help. They didn't calculate political consequences or worry about ancient laws. They just acted. Maybe that's what humanity, fuck yeah, really meant. Not that humans were stronger or smarter than other species, but that they possessed something rare in the cold vastness of space. The instinct to save a drowning child, no matter what form it took. Nancy smiled. So, she said to Jacob as they exited the chamber, now accompanied by an honor guard, I guess I need a new job. Jacob laughed. I hear being a nest guardian pays pretty well. Behind them, Prince Azeroth soared through the chamber, already dreaming of the day he would fly among the stars, with his human nestmate beside him. The end.